Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of Vechain, taking a look at what's been going on most recently with the price action and what we think is likely to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, guys, you're missing a trick. Check it out, linked in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. It is the first place that we go to notify you of everything that is happening in the crypto space, so keep a finger on the pulse of crypto by joining us down in Discord. Okay guys, let's get into this. Vechain paired up with USDT on the hourly chart and Binance is our data source. This one's actually not too bad. It's reasonably simple to kind of follow what has been going on here when it comes to Vechain. So let's actually dive straight down into this. It does look corrective to me, but we'll go through and see if this is going to change anything further down the line. So we obviously have the low points just down here. We spoke about this previously. Let me just go ahead and just grab a horizontal line and throw it right there. You can see it at 1.533 cent. And fortunately enough, I was actually able to scoop up some Vechain pretty close to this target, and it's done incredibly well. I think we actually pushed up as high as, where is that? Right up here, 1.824, and I don't think we're necessarily done just yet. We'll see. A lot of the motion to the upside here has been driven out from the DXY. The DXY has collapsed down, and as such, all the other assets have gone up in value, and this is because you need more dollars to buy them because the DXY is devalued. So if we start thinking about, what the DXY and the impact of the DXY, then of course, this is going to be an interesting time for cryptocurrency assets. Now, Vechain is no exception to that. So let's go ahead and jump down into this. Let's start off with the structure down here. This looks very corrective to me. We had the correction in the middle, but we do also have this move, 1, 2, and 3. Now, the interesting thing here is that there are rules that we have to apply. I mean, this here is, if I turn this yellow, make it a little bit easier, we can see that if this was to be considered a wave 1 and this a wave 2 is not allowed to retrace more than 100% that of our wave 1. So a wave 2 cannot retrace more than 100% of wave 1. This is an invalidation. So we know that this is not a wave 1. Instead, I mark it up as a C wave. Keep it nice and simple, A, B, and C. That means it's a 3-wave structural point there. Then, of course, we move on down. This to me looks like a double zigzag pattern, but we can look at it many different ways as well. I simple kind of look at it as an ABC, just to kind of keep things nice and smooth on the video here, and we don't have to worry about it terribly too much. Now, this move to the upside is terribly interesting. This particular wick coming up and kind of coming back down here and then starting to really ramp up. So again, I don't think terribly too much of it. This particular wick though is interesting because it does actually create a bit of a problem when it comes to Elliott wave theory, and obviously understanding that this potentially would be an invalidation overall in terms of trying to make this a 5-wave count. It cannot be a 5-wave count coming up here. So therefore this is problematic to make it a wave 1. It doesn't look like a wave 1, but unfortunately that is how we're going to have to class it because of everything else that's happened and unfolded since then. So we can kind of see, if I grab another 3-wave structure, just put it in here, 1, 2, and 3, like so, we know that that's corrective, and it, without even having to measure, we know that we've gone past the 1.236 or 1.618, sorry, just up here. So we can see that very, very clearly, in fact, very close to the 2.618. Okay, so we know that. So we are going to have to kind of think of this as a 5-wave drop or 5-wave structure, even though I don't like the idea of doing this, but essentially I think it is the only way to really kind of make sense over these structures. And that one wick there, without overcomplicating all of this area down at the bottom, we'll have to kind of consider that as a wave 1 structure. All in all, I don't like any of this because it is all driven from the DXY, not real demand coming in. There's a lot of FOMO, of course, a lot of retail investors thinking the bull market's come, and that's because they don't fully understand the extent of what the DXY has essentially done here. Okay, so we have to kind of keep those things in mind. Now, in terms of our retracement, we will be looking for around the 1.742. This will be our 38.2% retracement level. So I'll go ahead and remove that. You can kind of see it there, 1.742. And if that is the case, and we do retrace to those lows, then of course we'll be able to predict out our wave 5. And I'll draw a yellow box on here, and this would come in right at this area at 1.844 through to this slightly higher range at 1.877. I'll delete the fibs so they get out of the way. We don't have to pay attention to those. And there you go. There's your 5th wave expectation. So all in all, that's kind of where we end up with. But we cannot ignore that first 3-wave structure. We can't just have a random 5 waves after all. So essentially, it looks to me that this is a big A, B, C structure like this. Okay, and essentially that looks like we are kind of done with all of those internal counts. Now we don't have a good structure coming up here, and you know, because of this, then of course it means that this is all going to be corrective and we have to come back down. I think we're going to have to come down regardless of this structure anyway, because of the DXY and the way that that's moved down. That will have to bounce up, and when that goes up, then everything else goes down. So essentially with the DXY going down, crypto goes up, and when the DXY goes up, crypto will go down. So I think the DXY is getting ready to go up, and therefore cryptocurrency will go down. Not only is it from a DXY point of view, but we also have the opposite on the stochastics. Yes, I think there's a little bit higher to push here, more towards those 1.844 to 1.877, and that's aligned to our hourly chart looking like it has to go up a little bit more. Of course, we are overbought on the daily, 8-hour and 4-hour, so essentially all of those are quite bearish from a momentum point of view, and the momentum is definitely going to be looking for shifting to the downside. So just kind of keep these things in mind. If I throw the volume on here, you can kind of see volume isn't overly unusual. It's a little bit higher as though we have had some FOMO activity kind of coming in, but for the most part, nothing terribly too much to kind of concern ourselves with. We have a little bit here at the moment of selling pressure. You can kind of see that within the red volume side. So yeah, we're keeping an eye on that. The positive here though is that the volume is decreasing as we are correcting down. That means there's less sellers than there are buyers. So okay, FOMO kicking in, taking the price up higher. I'm expecting higher prices here before we actually have the correction, but I'm not expecting terribly too much. 1.877 to 1.44 to 1.844 if I can get my words out, to 1.877. That'll be the higher range, and then I think from there we collapse on down. Other than that, there isn't really terribly too much more to this. Now, in terms of how low we're going to go, hard to say, but I would be expecting potentially another 5-wave drop. We have 5 coming here. We go up in this 335, meaning that I would be expecting some kind of 5-wave drop to come on down. That means we're probably going to come down lower than we were previously. So if I go ahead and map this in, grab this low point, grab this high point, if I can find it, right, oh, almost. One more candle work up there, come on, right in there. Is that it? Did I get it? There we go. Okay. Move this over to our theoretical high. I'll put it on the higher side to give us a little bit more room, and that would be taking us down to about 1.470. Approximately, it should be a 5-wave drop, of course. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, like that. That'll marry up with our white 5-wave drop on this left-hand side, and basically complete a zigzag pattern. This would be the best case scenario, basically being A, B, and C. I say best case scenario, best bearish case scenario. It's probably the better way of saying it, because this will basically mean that we're not impulsive. If we go down lower than 1.263 down here, then of course we trigger an impulsive structure to the downside, where that is no longer ABC, but instead 1 through 5 and all that kind of stuff. So keep that in mind. It's always a possibility that this goes impulsive to the downside. Who knows how low this thing could potentially go overall. So a zigzag is kind of a nice ideal. It means we get cheaper prices, we can accumulate more in these low ranges, and we don't have to worry about those real deep kind of retracement levels on Vechain. Now, it's possible, of course, that we do achieve these things. It's possible that we come down slightly lower towards the 1.236 at 1.382 or 1.387, sorry. The problem really comes when we hit this area of 1.2 that really potentially will push down lower into the kind of less than 1 cent range on Vechain. Now, that would be fantastic for accumulation, but, you know, I don't necessarily want it to go down that low myself. So we'll see how it kind of goes. I'm not optimistic about the move to the upside. I do think that's limited in its growth, and I think overall we are looking for moves to the downside. So essentially that's kind of where my mind is at in terms of the price action of Vechain. I am expecting this to kind of top out a little bit more towards the 1.877 range, and then kind of collapse back down again, and more heading towards the 1.47. Okay, so I'm going to leave this video right there. Just a brief update on Vechain. If you found it useful and informative, smash the like button. I do appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, tapping the bell, selecting all the notifications, and you'll stay up to date with all the videos. Join us down in Discord. Honestly, guys, I don't think you'll regret it. It's completely free. Check it out, linked in the description below. Until the next one, have a fantastic day.